choice that you made was the canon decision. So in terms of Starcraft canon, Raynor sided with Tosh, and Raynor helped the colonists against Selendis. That said, I really would like to not have any player feel like their choice has been invalidated. So, I mean, in general, except for when the implications become overpowering, I think I'm going to try to stay away from going back and examining that stuff, except when we really need to, so that you can play the game and really feel like your choices are being carried forward. And we do have the technology to check your save game, by the way. Anything to add?
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Hi. First, I've got a really, really simple yes or no question. The official sort of insurrection and retribution campaigns from the original StarCraft, are those canon or not? And then more importantly, what's going on with Samir Duran? Because we didn't see him at all in Wings of Liberty, although we did see the fruits of his labors.
So to the first point, I don't know. My instinct tells me that they should not be canon. But I'd have to look at them again, because there's probably good DNA there that might be useful. Huh? Sure. So relative to Duran, yeah.
He is not forgotten. We could certainly say that.
Insurrection?
Duran is part of a larger story that is still unfolding. There's hints of it in Wings of Liberty. There's more hints of it than you might think, in the sense that at a later date, when you have more knowledge, you might go back and play Wings of Liberty and see some stuff. So he's certainly not just a character that fell by the wayside. He has a part to play in the greater story of the StarCraft universe.
Totally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, also with the Heart of the Swarm, I'm just wondering if you could give us a chronological ordering of if it takes after Wings of Liberty, and if so, how long after?
I don't know that we should do that. You want to do that, don't you?
I want to do it all. All right, if you don't want to do it, I'll side with you.
Don't.
Well, I think you can answer half of it.
Just does it take place after?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not be specific about.
Okay. All right. Oh, it's not the lawyers. They don't care.
We're protecting your experience of the product.
Just picture yourself when Heart of the Swarm comes out, sitting in front of your computer playing it. And do you really want to feel like, oh, I knew that was going to happen? I saw that on YouTube from that.
Or do you want to be, oh my God? So we want to protect that.
While it's installing, you should be saying, what is the timeline? Okay. Chris has prevailed upon me to, against my better instincts, to say that Heart of the Swarm takes place after Wings of Liberty. An unspecified amount of time between the two.
Right. Less than 100 years.
But greater than 1 hour.
Right. Right.
First off, gentlemen, thank you for creating one of the greatest gaming experiences of all time.
Oh, right on. Thanks, guys.
And thank you for being in control of your creative liberty. The question I have is, the Xel'Naga, will we ever get to see them, either in a flashback or some way that we can see what they had planned and how it went wrong, either regarding the Dark Voice or with the corruption that he did? Will we see them physically in the game?
It's a tough question to answer, because it's a complicated answer. let's say this, all things will be revealed for certain. But whether it's a weird question.
I think we can also say that the Xel'Naga are an integral part of
The whole
thing.
All right. So now whether we see them in their most classical form, what did they look like a million years ago? What did they look like 4 million years ago? That's harder to say because we're still digging a lot of that stuff out. What do you perceive when we really start to throttle up on that thematic? It's still kind of in flex, so I'm not sure how to answer it, but they certainly, at a thematic and practical level, they dominate what is the truest story of Starcraft.
And they're not going to look like gnomes.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris, I have a question about the UED. Are we ever going to get the backstory of Earth and how the psionic purges turned out? And will we ever see any sign of the UED ever again in the next games?
Off the top of my head, I think it is potentially very fertile soil. Relative to what StarCraft 2 is, I can probably spare y'all the suspense. We won't be going to Earth in StarCraft 2, but I think there's any number of bitchin' stories we could, conjure relative to that era or those eras. It's not quite on our radar right now, but I think that's really interesting stuff.
Thank you very much. Get those creative juices flowing.
Hi.
Hello.
My question is actually a bit of a plot clarification that's nagged at myself and some forum goers. In StarCraft 2, we see Tychus and Raynor take control of the Odin and basically do as they will with it right under Mengsk's nose. And then later, the revelation concerning Tychus's connection to Mengsk, I was wondering how it was that that all went down without him finding out about it and putting a stop to it. Go for it.
That is a good one.
That is a very good question. Brian.
Hi, Chris. Yeah, I mean, in my mind, during Media Blitz, the mission where Tychus is doing that, I don't know that Mengsk always had a direct feed open, because really, Tychus is wandering around the